I did get my dark chocolate confection yesterday, though.
Uh-huh.
That's all Catherine's fault for encouraging me.
She's good at enabling, let me tell you.
The best.
It's not enabling when you're talking about scarcity of a luxury product. I mean,
Good
let's face
point.
it, we're all like,
Just reinforcement.
It's
yeah.
investment.
Well, it is. It totally is.
And you're keeping
And-
another business alive.
Also that.
There's something to be said
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, a big
When you're
shout
spending
out.
that kind of money, it's all about you. It's so worth it. And plus women, as women, we don't often, really buy those special things for ourselves. And I consider this kind of level of yarns like something that we work hard and we earn. And we deserve to have them. That's
Better
my
than
point of
jewelry.
view. It's not an enabling thing. It's a take care of
It's
yourself.
Affirmation. It's affirmation, not enabling.
Affirmation.
Yeah, it's a self-care thing. That's the way I look at it.
I'm with you.
I'm glad. I like to have partners in crime.
I can do that really well.
Well, but I mean, look at the sweater you just made for your husband. I mean,
Yeah.
it's spectacular. He
Thank
loves
you.
it.
Yes.
And I mean, it's one of a kind and it's going to last for the rest of his life. Unless he gets caught in a cog or something, he'll be great.
It's caught in a cog.
I mean, I look at this stuff. I go into Old Navy sometimes with my friends when they have to get stuff for their kids, and it's all just, disposable clothing,
Yeah.
and it's so much of the clothing now is like that. So to have a luxury fiber that's going to last a long time when you've put all those hours into it makes sense to me. But what do I know?
I was just reading an article this morning about people saying at thrift stores where they used to go for affordable, high quality, natural fiber clothes, all they can find are the fast fashion things that don't last.
Yeah.
And that it's really changed the life of thrift stores and people who are thrifty shoppers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
This
know
whole-
somebody who long time has lived beyond their means, a country club kind of a person, retiree. And he has been living beyond what his retirement has. And so for years, he's done things like cruised eBay and thrift stores for the right clothing. And he can't find it anymore. Keeps asking me like, where can I find this? Where can I find that? And I was like, first of all, not very many people are making that stuff anymore. Those kinds of sweaters, that kind of thing. And if somebody finds them, they just don't even part with them anymore.
Yeah.
It's sort of exactly what you're saying, Audrey.
Yeah. It's a whole new world.
Yep.
We need to bring it back to the natural world, get away from all the synthetic insanity.
So many reasons to. You're absolutely right. The self-care, the helping ourselves, all of those are absolutely true, but helping our planet, because as we talked months ago, there's so much non-crap kind of clothing that's just tossed out within a matter of months. Because that's what our society unfortunately has become.
Well, and the other thing is if petroleum prices continue to rise and stay there,
Right.
a lot of this fast clothing isn't going to be as affordable as it was. I
You're
mean,
absolutely right.
a lot of the materials in leisure wear, yoga pants is made out of petroleum.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but a lot of it. And then there's a lot of energy that goes into those man-made fibers.
Right.
Anne knows more about the eco-friendly ones than I do, but
There
No,
aren't
yeah.
there aren't that many eco-friendly ones. Although many synthetics have a smaller carbon footprint than wool does. But that is balanced by other factors like chemical waste and water usage and things like that. Oops. Sorry, I'm looking for something. I'm wrong.
I had to leave Wednesday a little earlier than you guys. And I listened to the rest of it on the Zoom, the YouTube that you put out. Thank you for that. And you guys at the end had a conversation about when you're like at conferences or on meetings and you're knitting.
Oh, yeah.
I do that all the time, and it's quite interesting, different feedback. Some people who are crafters understand it's not taking away your attention from the meeting, but people that are not crafters think that you're not paying attention and it's disrespectful. It's really, really interesting, people's responses.
Mm.
And I think it's kind of an age thing. I work in the tech field as a recruiter, so the calls that I go on, I'm on the sunshine here. The calls that I go on are primarily people in their late 20s, early 30s. And so, you know, I've knit a couple times, they're like, okay, grandma. And I'm like, okay, you know, like it kind of reduces your whatever, you know, in their eyes, but
Credibility.
whatever.
You don't need their approval.
Right. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
need
leave when you're
yours.
cold, kids.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, and I guess I kind of formulate that. I completely appreciate that as a 20-year-old opinion because it's not a mature opinion.
Right. We're stereotyping. Come on.
Right. Right.
We always have to remember, we used to be
What'd you
that
get,
age.
Kat?
Hello,
What's that?
it's Karen. I knit all through nursing school, university, staff meetings that were ridiculous to reduce noise. And I took notes and asked questions. And people just accepted that's who I was. I used the circular needles because the long old needles were noisy. They would
Yeah.
click. But I really believe that if it helps you and you feel good about it, do it.
Yep. And you learn to knit without looking.
Yes.
I knit under the desk.
You know, and I found it actually, I am more attentive to what is being said because if I'm not using this knitting process or whatever the crafter might be, I doodle or my mind wanders and I seem to pay less attention to what's actually being said.
Yep. Absolutely.
Actually, I kind of have it like it's my version of a fidget spinner.
Oh,
It's my
That's a
hand, so I'm
conversation.
constantly hitting something.
yeah.
Yep.
I apologize for all the
it's-
noise and my camera going everywhere. This baby is very interested in my laptop at the moment. Trying to
Knitting
keep
is-
myself muted.
Knitting is more productive than a fidget spinner. So they should be happy we are knitting.
The baby is, there's the baby.
Aw.
The baby. Comes here.
He's getting
Here.
close. Look.
Oh, look at.
Oh, too funny. We
What's
usually
her
get
name?
dogs or cats go by the screen, never a baby.
What's her name?
Oh. Oh.
Name is Sonu.
What's her name?
His name is Sonu.
Oh, he's a boy. Hi, Sono. Hi.
Hi, Sono.
Hey, Sono. Maybe we should show him a puppy.
Yeah.
You want to see my doggy? Huh?
He does love dogs. We have my dog and then we're done.
He's trying to climb into the screen.
Is
I'm gonna mute us.
Look. Who's that?
Oh,
Cheers.
Oh my God, that's right.
He's like, why am I here?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do?
Oh, Catherine.
Hey, Sono, do you see the baby?
Oh,
Mattis right here.
Oh,
There's another puppy.
Aw.
Oh, and Aaron's over at the side going, talking to me. I want to go on.
Right. I want to go on screen. Show me
I
off.
have 2 dogs in the house at the moment. I have a pitty, and my sister's little mini poodle mix is also here right now for the weekend.
Go eat your lunch.
Busy household.
Yeah.
My dogs are kind of losing their mind because we've had a lot of rain and we're supposed to have lots of thunderstorms, so it's hot and humid here. So they're staying inside and getting a little frustrated.
Yeah.
How do they
A
react?
lot
to
of
the
rain.
thunderstorms?
Oh, they don't mind thunderstorms at all. It's the heat and the humidity is really high. We're in a really tropical pattern right now. So I'm unboxing my sweater yarn from the sale.
I was hoping I got mine today, but mine's coming next week.
Look at this Targhee worsted. I mean, seriously, how unexpected
What's
is
the name of that one?
This is Targhee worsted in the Nuevo.
Nuevo.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice. Very nice.
some of that too. I
Nice.
love it. Yeah. Nice.
That's
I
the
got
one up
Targhee
the
worsted,
end.
but it
It's not the
wasn't
only-
Nuevo. I can't remember what mine is.
Just so you don't feel like a total victim, Anne. And then I also got Kent DK in the pearl color.
Ooh. Kent. Nice.
Is that a new color?
Oh, it smells so good. Yes,
That
it was a
cowl.
accent color that came out like in February. They have a little bit of this color would be
Ah,
gorgeous
pretty.
on you, Anne.
It's a shade I'm very fond of, no question.
Let me see if I can get a better truer with the light. There we go.
That's
Does
pretty.
that help? Does that help?
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Very pretty.
I love it.
I bet.
That cowl you put out, Ann, this week on Facebook, I think I'm gonna have to do that because that's really cool.
The cortado.
Yeah.
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 I'm
Yeah.
not a coffee drinker. I had to actually look up what that meant.
I did the
Yeah,
same.
you know, that came out in a club and we've hardly sold any of them up till now. And then Danielle picked it for a kapow and it's just, everybody's getting it.
I
So
really like it. I think.
yeah, it is. It's a pretty one. And there's a shawl. I think she put that in the email. The matching shawl is called Tarta.
Yeah, I did the shawl from the club. It's really lovely yarn too.
Yeah, we don't have that yarn, but we have the new
I
goat
still
yarn.
do.
Yeah.
I was thinking the goat yarn for that. So thank you for affirming that.
Yeah, the goat, a bunch of people are buying, what did she recommend? Even, and the deco lace would be stunning in that too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now I have to look it up.
One of my friends is knitting a 405 Lex out
Uh-huh.
of the Modern Deco. Is it Sport or DK? I can't remember.
Probably lace. 'Cause that's what it,
It calls for lace. No, I think she's knitting it out of DK or Sport.
well, it only comes in sport and lace and the pattern calls for the lace weight.
Oh, it does? Okay. Well, whatever she's knitting it out of, it looks fantastic. I can't get over the definition that the cables are doing. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, that yarn has excellent stitch definition. Again, that's combed, the Targhee in that is combed and it's extremely clean and smooth because it's combed and when it interacts with the tencel, it just picks up all of that.
Mhm.
And combing it also brings out the shine and even in the wool, so.
Has anybody received their barn box yarn yet? I don't want you to show it because I know some people might want to be non-spoilers, but
Out for delivery today.
up for
Just
delivery.
check.
Well, I was in Texas the past week for my grandson's Air Force Basic Training graduation. And my yarn said that it was delivered on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and it is nowhere to be found.
Mm.
Oh,
And so my neighbor gets my mail for me every day and puts it in the house. So I know I've got to get a hold of, I'll get a hold of David. I don't know, Ann, if you guys can track it any better than I can or not.
Well,
So-
if you have the tracking number, that's the same thing we have.
Okay, well, then I'll just get a hold of the post office.
Yeah, it might be there. That's often what happens when
Yeah.
someone can't find something that says it was delivered. David calls the post office and they're like, oh yeah, we have it here.
Yeah, well, I've had items because I get an email every day that shows me a picture of what my mail delivery is. I can't remember what that service is called. And so I always get a picture of what it is. And I got a card, I saw a card that I got from my sister-in-law. And I thought, oh, great, her card is here and I'll have it when I get home from work. It didn't show up for 2 weeks. So I'm sure it is still in the process. It's just delayed. Let's put it. that way.
Oh, so they don't take the picture on your doorstep. They take it at the facility.
Right.
No, this is, yeah, they take it's an automated service that takes a photo of every item of mail that I get. And then they send it to me in an email and say, this is your mail delivery for today.
Yeah.
I think it's called informed delivery or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get that at the USPS.gov. They
Yeah.
do that for everybody because of theft. And also if you have a post office box, then you can figure out whether to go. But they usually don't take pictures of packages, but they'll have the tracking number at the bottom of the email, Elizabeth,
Right.
if you look below the pictures.
Yes, and it was there. Yeah, it was there. The tracking number was there, but it just never showed up.
So what I've been having is something similar, but I have two things going on. One is the post office hasn't been able to have like decent retention. And what they have been doing is showing it delivered when they've given it to my mail carrier, but that doesn't mean my mail carrier is going to actually bring it that day.
Right.
There's that. And also with the packages, they have somebody else running around delivering packages. And in our neighborhood, they keep getting delivered to the wrong houses. So apparently like 6 months ago, the post office changed how they're doing deliveries. So they completely rerouted the system because they were having staff shortages. And because of that, you don't always have the same delivery person like you used to. It depends on how big your town is, but it's been really chaotic, and everybody I know, like here in Wilmington, everybody's complaining about it. You go out to dinner and it's the first topic everyone's talking about
Oh my
after, like,
gosh.
you know,
Well, I'm
after like gas and grocery prices. So,
Well,
and
I'm
it's
sure-
just, you know, the post office is just constantly losing money. So everyone's constantly fiddling with it right now, trying to figure out how to make
Right.
it work.
I'm sure it's still in the system. It's just going to probably be delayed. So
Yeah.
I'll give it a few more days.
We had a brand new mail carrier. My husband was at the end of our driveway. I live in Connecticut, out in the woods, and he watched this woman drive into the end of our driveway. We have a long driveway, take our packages, which was all yarn, and throw it into the woods. And my husband went up to her and was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I wanted to hide it so nobody would steal it." Now I live at a dead-end street. There's only 6 houses. We're probably one of the safest towns.
How about hiding it on the doorstep?
Right.
Yeah.
Threw it into the woods. I'm like,
How about hiding it on my porch? Yeah.
really? She goes, "I don't want any porch pirates to get it." He's like,
Well, she came up with that lie pretty
Throw it in the
fast,
woods.
didn't she?
that was crazy.
I think it's a lot of sabotage because the carriers have just had it.
Yeah,
So they're trying to just
agree.
make it fail so badly that they have to hire more people.
Right, right.
They can't, I mean, the post office, it's funny, they have their own separate code of government employee rules. They have, along with the railroad workers, like the best benefits, the best pay scale, all of that stuff. But I don't think they're allowed to unionize because they have all these benefits. Unlike other federal employees, they're just sort of carved out. And so I have a feeling that may be some of what's going on. I used to do tax returns for some of the post office executives when I was in DC, and it's fascinating how different their laws are. Since I guess it dates back to the colonial era for the most part, and it was considered such a lifeline, but now it's a hot mess. So I'm sorry, Elizabeth. I hope you get it by Tuesday.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And it's not in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have
Go look in your woods.
Yeah, I should. I should.
And ironically, like we live in the city of Canton, we have, and the main post office for Canton is right up the street. It's not our post office is down the street and it's a different one, but we use the main post office a lot. But all these routes are really tough walking routes. You know, they're large routes with terrible sidewalks, in crappy neighborhoods, or at best, you know, very changeable neighborhoods. And we get a lot of substitute mailmen, or people, all the new mail carriers come on our routes because the veterans want to get off these routes. But every day when I walk the dogs after, it's always like after 7, usually when we go out, there are still mail trucks, and there are mail trucks they're all heading back to the facility at that point. And we often walk behind the facility in an area there. I mean, I'm always impressed with how long they stay on the job. They're always there past 7 when they're supposed to get off. And it's really a tribute to them that they are so hardworking here. We're lucky that they are. We hardly ever have problems with our mail, thankfully.
Well,
Because-
I will say, I have a friend who puts out a Gatorade for her postman every single day. And believe me, she doesn't have mail problems.
Yeah, yeah. And we have, we are lucky that for a long time when we first moved here, we had the same guy for a really long time. Then we had the same woman for a long time. And then we had a series of different people all the time. And that was a noticeable change. But now we have the same guy all the time again. And that does make a difference if someone will stay on your route. And it's funny because this guy he's quite overweight and big. And, you know, even in the winter, he wears like shorts and a t-shirt because he's always hot. And I'm like, wow, he must really suffer when it's summertime, but he keeps the route. So a lot of the carriers we walk through several neighborhoods on our walks, like 4 or 5 different neighborhoods, and they're all really friendly, nice people. And they recognize us when we're walking, and it's kind of sweet that we have a good mail service here for the quality of the neighborhood we live in. That sounds like Aaron. I'm not doing any presenting today because it's our off week, but if anybody has questions or needs help with anything, please feel free to be forthcoming. I was hoping to have my sample back from the photographer today to show you, but I'll have to wait till next week for
I have
that.
a quick question for you, Anne.
Mhm.
The new cardigan pattern and the tunic, the Naughty Pine,
Mhm.
would it be possible to do that in a DK weight, or would you not recommend it?
The gauge is pretty, I think when I looked it up the other day, I think the gauge is 12.5 stitches to the inch on size 10 needles,
Ooh.
or it's 12.5 stitches to 4 inches. I don't think you could get that with, here's, hang on. I don't think you could get that with DK yarn. Yeah,
I didn't think so, but
yeah, 12.5 stitches, because that targi, wow, is really lofty. So it's,
I really want to do the tunic, but I think in worsted, it's going to be too heavy for me.
it isn't, it isn't weighty. You know, that yarn is very airy and light.
No, I
Um,
mean heavy, like warm.
Yeah, too warm, like you wouldn't wear it enough. But a cardigan, I think you might, yeah, especially
Oh,
if,
I'm definitely doing a cardigan. Yeah,
yeah.
I
Um,
want to do both desperately.
the other thing you could try is, doing a gauge swatch with the DK and kind of figuring how many stitches you would need to do the width. Like say you get 20 stitches per 4 inches or 18 on like I would try it on a size 8 needle and then see, let's say your width is 20 inches, just what that would be. That would be like, I don't know, 90 stitches or something. If you got
Right.
18 stitches. So then find the size with 90 stitches and make that,
Okay.
but ignore the lengths. Use the lengths for like your armhole length that you would use,
Right. I was thinking about trying it in Stone Soup DK, just because that it would have the bloom and stuff. Not as much as the Targi, but
No, it will. Like when I knit my multi-grain, I used a size 8 needle instead of a size 7, and and the sweater came out bigger, looser, which is a fit that I like in that sweater. But if I was really stuck on that yarn and that gauge, I would have gone down a size, if that makes sense.
it does actually. I'm writing this all down.
Yeah,
Which
thanks
sweater are you talking about?
It's not published yet, but it's coming at the end of the month, the Knotty Pine.
Thanks for the gauge. I wanted to start playing with my yarn, check out the gauge swatches. So that's a help.
Yeah.
Would you repeat the gauge, please?
It's 12.5 stitches and 22.5 rows in stockinette, washed and air dried. And then in the rib pattern, it's 16 stitches and 23 rows.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for that pattern.
Me too.
Me
Yeah,
too.
to release it.
And do you have any yarn news that you can tell us of things that are coming in, or
Let's see.
like a new shipment of Stone Soup, or stuff like
Well,
that?
we got completely restocked on Stone Soup just before Maryland, so we're all good on Stone Soup. We have Kent. We always have Kent on order. There's always something that we need. And we've got the Folkestone on the docket for a PO. We have to pay our bills before we can order anything that we don't need right now. So, that's where we are. It's summertime and, sales are slower in the summer. And so we have to order our yarn in the winter and the spring. So it gets delivered now. It's always a juggle at this time of the year. So I took Barb's credit card away. It's not her fault. It's not Barb's fault. It's just, I had to tell her, like, we can't, please don't order anything.
She's too
Like-
good at her job.
No, I mean, we hate it when we don't have something when the time is ripe. It's kind of sucks. You know, we've gotten away from that of being out of stuff that we're actually advertising and stuff like that. But our business hasn't grown big enough that we have that much cash reserve to cover, you know, everything. But we've got all of our barn box in-house through the end of the year. So we've got we've got July, September, and November all set. And the Festivus is here. So there's a lot of yarn in the house. Plus we have a special, batch of yarn that we have to do. We're thinking of doing like a fall holiday box or something for. So we've got that. That's a secret.
And there was I got a postcard for
Oh, Yarn Discovery Tour is also
Yarn
in the
Discovery Tour.
Yeah, that's also in the house. Yep.
I got a lot of postcards in this package. It was like Christmas.
As I said, we have twice as many as we really need. So, so I was like, oh, at least they arrived in time for the sale, and we could put them in all the sale packages and the barn box. So,
Can you tell us if there will be a new pattern for the coming barn box, or is that going to be a secret until
you'll
pattern
find
release day?
you'll find out.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
And I just signed up for the barn box on Thursday. So would my first box come in September?
What day was Thursday? That was the 7th. I don't know what David's cutoff is.
Yeah.
Yeah, David handles the logistics of barn box, and I purposely don't get involved just because I have so many things on my plate. So I don't know what I know I'm supposed to know what the cutoff day is, and I never remember what it is.
That's okay. It's not like I don't have other things to knit on.
Well, yeah, and if you wanted it, you could get it. So, you know, you could always write to David, and he's very nice about, you know.
He's very accommodating.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
And graciously so.
Yeah.
It's worth writing to David just to get a verbal answer back or a written answer back.
Okay, I'll do that then.
True. I always include a little blurb when I have to write him about what's going on, like, oh, a bunch of turtles hatched in town. Here's a video or something like that. He loves that.
Yeah, he's Jose probably has the most experience communicating with David of anybody, I think, maybe. And she can tell you, if she's still here, she can tell you that he's very sweet and accommodating.
Oh yeah, he is super sweet.
Like he always looks up things in French to say to Jose, which is so sweet. They're special friends.
More special than David and Kim.
Oh yeah, that's another, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, but Kim isn't a writer. I mean, she writes to me, but I don't know that she writes to David. But Jose and David have their own communication exchange.
Well, I think Jose, we could call her David Whisperer.
Yeah.
There you go.
How's David's mom doing? Well,
Yeah, she's doing pretty good.
Good. How's your mom?
She's good. She's at the soup kitchen today volunteering.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it's her day to do that.
Are you gonna knit something for her for Christmas or?
I don't know. I haven't given it much thought. I made her 2 sweaters last year, and I think she wears the one. I think she's been wearing that robin's nest because she asked me about the yarn one time. And I don't know if she wears dandelion honey or not. I hope so.
I bet she's wearing it this summer.
It's a good sweater for summer because it's kind of just what you need in the air conditioning. You don't want too much to wear.
I really want to do Firefly.
That would look so nice on you.
I think so too. But it's really affirming to hear you say that too.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like really right up your alley for your weather and everything.
Totally. I want to do it in the fresh lace and in the cut lace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna do it in fresh lace and I realized I have 2 completely different dye lots of my 2 skeins.
Oh.
And there actually are enough different that I need to rethink the plan.
Hey, Anne, send me a picture of the lots. I might be able to swap
And you
out with
can
you.
swap.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I have it. So if you let us know what the dye lot is, maybe one of us
Yeah,
has it.
that would be great. In fact,
Yeah, if you have it handy, I'll write it down and then I'll go up to the
Yeah.
yarn shop and check.
I'll go check.
Yeah. I mean,
And
we
I have to go to the post office on Monday anyway, so I'm happy to do it.
yeah, we had that one lot of fresh lace that was really different than the others. It was finer and silkier and whiter because so whoever ordered it, we've been ordering from this company for a while, and we didn't find out until Barb came on board. So we had already had fresh lace for probably like 10 years. That there were 2 different types of this yarn available, and the one that we usually get is it feels a little heavier. It's got a little more substance to it, and it's more natural color. So it's a little creamier. And
Also, the yardage is a tiny bit different
yeah.
between the 2 skeins.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could just be David's labeling problems.
Well, it
So
could be.
what do you have, Anne, and what do you want? And you
I
need
would
2
go-
skeins?
I need 2 skeins. I have 2, but I have one that is lot 10006 and 10001. So you have been getting it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll run upstairs right now anyway. I'll just go
Oh,
look.
Thank you.
I'll be right back.
And if not, I mean, we can probably accommodate it too, because
Catherine, wait, I want to see your yarn shop. I didn't get to see it when you moved.
Okay, I'm gonna mute and go upstairs.
Okay.
Hey, Anne, I missed the first part of that. What is it that you're looking for?
I have 2 skeins of the fresh lace in 2 completely different dye lots, and I need 2 skeins of something, one or the other.
What color is it?
Yeah. It's
Okay, let me go
you
look.
can see the 2 differences.
Okay, let me go see what I have.
Well, bless your heart. I'm happy to do a swap. Either way. I've been hoarding this for the longest time, and I suddenly looked at it and went, oh my goodness, they're not the same. There's the yarn shop.
Oh, wait.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Say something, Catherine.
you're muted, Catherine.
I'm upstairs in my yarn shop.
Oh, my.
So that's the yarn and books and yarn, and over there is my Bare Naked, which I'm going to go to, and my blocking table with
Oh,
my
man.
notions in it and my elliptical.
Are you
But
feeling
just
the yarn
my
envy
Bare
right now?
Naked stash is right here.
Oh, man.
It's a lot. It's a lot bigger room than it looked in any of the other times we've been up there.
Well, now you know where Bare Naked South is, don't you?
I've got one in 10001.
Perfect.
Let me see. I've got two in 1001. Hold on, let me see.
Wow.
That's Chablis lace. It's a little frustrating. I don't know where everything is because the people that unpacked me did it by color,
Yeah.
not the way I've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 3 skeins of the 1001, so I'm happy to trade with you because then I have 2 to do it.
Okay. If that's going to be enough for you, otherwise I could.
Yep. I think I only need 2.
Okay. Yeah, I just need a little bit more than 1 skein, I think, to do this. Because I don't think I can make the small sweater with the 736 yards of this.
Let me just double check here, see if they put any. This is, I think, my DK weight in sport. Yeah, there's none there. Yep, I'll send you one on Monday. Just
Okay. I'll
DM
send
me
you
your
back the
mailing
other.
address. Yeah, DM me your mailing address.
I will do that. Thank you.
Of course.
I should have thought of that sooner instead of going, oh no. Now I
Does
can do my
anybody
proper
else need
swatch.
anything while I'm here?
Oh, so much envy for all your wonderful yarn.
Well, it was a couple of years in the making, but
Yeah.
you know, I love it. I knit all the time. And to circle
Yeah.
around back to our original conversation
Yeah.
about the benefits of knitting is that it's scientifically proven that knitting helps reduce pain. And I've had a lot of surgeries and things, so I like to always have anything I could want at hand. And now I'm really glad I have it because with the economy the way it is, I don't feel like pressure or it's an investment. And I do have my stash listed in my will with places to go, so it doesn't end up in the wrong hands.
Right.
That's a smart thing. Thanks for showing us. It's
That's really
inspiring.
fun to see.
Yeah, so my knitting books are all here. And of course they color coded them, which drives me crazy because if I want to find my Fair Isle books, I lose my mind. And then I have my stock yarn and then my lace yarns over here. So
Beautiful.
yeah, it's kind of obscene. I have a little sitting area there and a little sink over there. I don't know if you could see it. I've been blocking a little sink.
Oh, yeah, yep.
It was like $60 at Home Depot and the plumbing was already there so that I don't have to carry things upstairs to block. And it was really Anne's idea. So it's all her fault. I'm not the only troublemaker around here. But I built it because I'm going to age into my house. I'll be here, God willing, another 30 years.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Really smart.
of course, I'm happy to do that.
Did you
Yeah,
have any
it's,
other, Catherine?
Right, yeah, you're coming down.
Sorry?
I did not have any. The whitish that I have is a Cooper Sport. So I
Yeah.
couldn't remember.
That's
I've got it,
okay.
Elizabeth. I'm going to mail it to her.
Oh, your yarn room is amazing. Amazing.
It was a good investment, I think, for me. I actually had a surgeon came over for 4th of July. My neighbors had their sister and brother-in-law over, and he had been here last summer and broke his neck body surfing. So I never got to meet him. And he is fine because he was able to tell everybody what to do when they pulled him out of the water.
Oh my.
And he came and he toured my whole house. For those of you that don't know, I gutted and remodeled my house. And his favorite room was the yarn room. And I think it's because he's a surgeon and likes everything just right,
Yeah.
which really had nothing to do with me because it was Anne's idea and I didn't unpack it and make it just right. So,
But having
He
an,
probably appreciated the good tools.
having an
Yeah.
escape route or an office probably is something that he has himself. You know, he knows the value of a place to get away to. And
yeah, and I actually wanted to knit up there today because I'm getting a little tired of my room, but I'm working on my sleeves on my India print and I've got 2 skeins attached and it's just really difficult to move it around. So maybe next week I'll be upstairs.
I have plans. I have plans to move my knitting space out to this little building we call the Outback. And right now we have a scientist friend who's in there inventing things, but we're going to ask him to move. And I'm going to call you, Catherine, when it comes time for me to be able to imagine my craft space.
Yes, we can FaceTime and I'll show you all the drawers and how the blocking board works and all that stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fantastic.
really interested in all that because I have sort of like 6 Rubbermaid boxes up here and I've got maybe 7 or 8 in the basement and I can never remember what I have or don't have. And
That's exactly why I did it. I had the
Yeah.
exact same thing and that's why I did it. Because now I know I could go upstairs and look and go, oh, yeah, I have this. And then I can do it like the fresh lace. I don't have
well,
to.
and you can and it's artwork. It, you know, it's something to look at that gives you pleasure instead of the ugly Rubbermaids. Who cares about that, you know?
well, they
True,
are sort of
because-
hidden.
The
No, I
builder-
just mean, yeah, I mean, being able to look at your skeins is a way of, you know, feeding your brain too. And
It
so-
is.
Exactly.
It's really fun if there's a pattern, like Anne releases a pattern and I run upstairs and look at my stash and I can look right away and see all the options. But the other thing is, which was interesting to me, is the builder sent a professional photographer to take some pictures of things for his portfolio. And the photographer posted a couple of pictures on Instagram, and the pictures that got the most likes were the ones of the yarn in the cabinets. Like people just lost their minds over that, which I found very interesting. You know, they were like, oh, another kitchen, whatever. Oh my God, what is this? It was just so unusual. And I will say that before I had some really inexpensive glass door cabinets from IKEA, which were great and worked really well, but my stash had exceeded that. And also because we don't have basements here at the coast, because if you dig down, you hit water. We have what they call frogs, which is the free room over the garage. So they're usually pitched ceilings, you know, from the roof line, and they can be awkward to furnish or use because of the ceiling slopes. And with that, he was able to cut into that and do the build out for the higher cabinet. So it just organized everything much better for me. And since I was ordering new cabinetry anyway, it wasn't a huge expense. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to take my oldest granddaughter to a sewing class, not next week, but the one after. And I'd love to be able to pull out my sewing supplies as well. And my back's been bothering me. So now I'm playing with chairs and varying heights, and I might see what I can do. I've got my grandparents' kitchen table that I'm at, but remarkably low. I think people were shorter at a certain point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they were, but also I will say, like, I got this idea from Anne's when I was at her house helping her with the pairings club that we did. David made her this really cool blocking table on an old dresser, right, Anne? Is it an old dresser?
No, it's the same. You know, I've been making blocking tables all my life with the same system, really. It's a cabinet. It's an IKEA cabinet with a glass front. And
That's right.
instead of buying like a countertop for the top, I had him make, so it's just a, you know, plywood, and then you screw on Homosoap board, which is a pressed paper acoustic paneling that they use in studios and things like that. And wrapped around that then is wool batting, and wrapped around that is cotton canvas. And if you want to, you can get like a woven window pane canvas so that has lines. But if you, obviously if you do that, you have to lay it down really, really straight. And then you can steam into that. You can do anything on that, and it absorbs moisture and releases it readily. It doesn't get moldy or funky in any way. And I've been using Homosoap for that purpose for years and years and years, and also for painting. Even you can, if you do watercolor painting, you can tape your paper down to Homosoap board around the edges and paint on the watercolor paper and let it dry, and the board will absorb the water and release it and dry your paper completely flat. It's really nice.
What are you, Homo, can you spell that?
Homosote, Homosote. Homosote.
Soaked. Okay.
Yeah.
Homosote. Okay.
And it comes in a 4x8 sheet that you can cut with a utility knife. And you can get it in like, well, it used to be that you could get it in 5/8, like plywood, 5/8 thick or 3/8 thick, I think. But for this purpose, either one will do. The 5/8 is nice because this board absorbs a lot of water, and even when it warps, when it's wet, it flattens right back out. Or the surface may raise up a little bit, but it flattens right out. You over and over and over. I've used the same sheets of Homosoap for years and years and years, between art studios and home blocking situations and stuff like that.
Well, I'm sure when the time comes, I'll get more of the details because I'll be thinking more about it.
It's not always easy to find. It's not, for a while, I don't know about now, but for a while you couldn't get it at Home Depot or anywhere like that. You had to go to a regular lumber yard. But I imagine in areas where there's more demand for soundproofing, and I think in general, there's more demand for soundproofing in buildings nowadays, that it might be easier to find. And the wool batting is a real benefit too.
Well, and the thing that I love about it is we did it kitchen counter height. It's basically like an island with drawers underneath, but at that height, and same thing with Ann's, just to not have to sit on the floor and block things, or even a dining room table can be just that little bit too low, where if you're doing a complex lace shawl, your neck or your back gets sore. When it's a higher blocking area, it's amazing the difference it makes. And then to be
not
able
hard
all
to
the way around
imagine.
it. Yeah,
It's not hard to imagine that at all.
it's the best thing, honestly.
And in terms of a surface to add to an island, it's super cheap. It doesn't even come close to butcher block or fake stone.
Topper, exactly.
Yeah, even Formica, I think is probably more expensive. It's very cheap.
Yeah, and I got really inexpensive wool batting on Etsy, where there are farmers that are raising sheep and they're selling it for nothing because they don't necessarily have good quality wool to send to the mill, or they don't have enough sheep, they don't bother, or whatever. I got enough batting for that entire table, and a little bit more, so it has a little bit more wool than Ann's, and it was like $50. It was nothing. I think it's Homed Lincoln of all things, and it was clean and perfect and easy. And then the thing I did is my builder built it with a screwed in frame. So if I need to replace the fabric, let's say I, wear it out or burn a hole in it or something silly, I can just unscrew one end, and then all the other pieces of the frame pop out, and I can just reupholster it and screw the wood framing on. So if anybody has a retired husband that likes woodwork, it's pretty awesome thing to have, even if it's something that lays on the side of a wall in a guest room, and then you put it elevated on a kitchen island that you already have. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So what is this, the frame, the screwed in part? Is it like a frame around the whole table?
Yeah, I imagine like a frame around a painting, but
Right.
it's flush, so the screws go in where they would kind of come together at the corner. And they have a nice big piece of plywood and they have it screwed into the plywood. So I just pop that off, and then it's not
Okay.
huge screws, but it's enough where,
So you just
Um,
look at, then you have access to the board.
yeah, but you don't have to have the frame. I mean, the frame is just like a polished thing that he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
to make it look good. But I mean, I don't think Ann's has a frame. I mean, if I made it myself, I would have just stapled it on the board like I did a piano bench or something, or
Yeah.
a dining room chair and popped it back in there.
On mine, the fabric wraps around the edges, so everything is wrapped. And David made it so and what you could do is, so the top of this cabinet is basically open. I think there might be some corner brackets or something, but he could have even made a little rabbit to go down in that, like a little flange, so that you could lift the top off like a lid. If
Right.
that could have been done too.
So
there
does
are a
it have plywood at the base, or it's just the Homosote?
It's
Plywood.
plywood. The
It's on
plywood
plywood.
just stabilizes it and gives it
Yeah.
some weight.
That
The
makes sense.
Homosote will break if you put too much weight on it. Like if you leaned your elbow on the overhang, it could snap off.
Mhm.
It's not like wood,
Okay.
or it's not like
That's what I
fiber.
was picturing.
Yeah, it's not like fiberboard or wafer board or anything like that. It is made out of paper. It's bulletin board material. I mean, it's what, it's what large scale bulletin boards are made out of.
Gotcha.
And
But
I
you
looked
could-
into getting the grid fabric that Ann mentioned, 1/2 inch and 1 inch squares. And we ordered some different ones from Spoonflower and from Etsy. But the thing is, when we got all the samples, the squares weren't actually accurate measurements. They were approximations. So then it
Right.
was like, yeah. And also for me, my table's so big, it made the room look really cluttered. It was too busy. So I went with a plain,
Yeah.
fabric. So you could, if you did a simple fabric, even go on with a Sharpie, even if you did, if you had a blue fabric and got a blue marker, you could do marks if you wanted, but the fabric would stretch, I think, over time and use. So
Yeah, my thinking was just something like a window pane shirting or a gingham that just gives you some idea of straight edges, some idea of being able to straighten some.
yeah, it's a great idea.
Well, I'm glad this is taped because I can go over and listen to it again when I'm not trying to knit.
I have a suggestion for people who want a work surface that's like countertop height, but don't want to invest in anything right now. I have some of those plastic folding banquet tables. Mine are like 6 feet long, but you can get them now that fold in half. And if the legs come down at an angle and then vertical, you can take PVC pipe, get 4 pieces of PVC pipe, and mine are probably a foot tall. And you stick the legs of the table into the PVC pipe, and it's like bed lifters. And so now when I put my table into those, it makes it more like countertop height. And I use that a lot. Like I do felt making and I lay out wool, and when I block stuff, I have little blocking puzzle pieces and I put those on top of that. It's really handy.
How did you block the hole in the PVC pipe to lift it? If you put the legs, I'm not
So you just
understanding
have to,
how the-
so the pipe is like this and it's just hollow and the leg has a bend in it. So it comes down like this, so that I insert it into the PVC pipe. So
up to the
like
bend.
if I wanted to raise it 18 inches, I would have to, I have to subtract that height from,
Yeah.
Not saying it right.
Our tables,
I
that
get it.
we, for the display booth are like that, where I don't know that they have a bend in them, but they have a bar that goes across so that
Yeah.
the foot of the leg is only maybe 6 inches.
Right.
And there's something there.
Yeah.
And you
If
could
want the table for,
you could totally stack that on top of anything, you know, it could be like for the booth, it could be concrete blocks or anything to
Mhm.
raise it up higher.
Yeah, the PVC pipe is nice because it doesn't stick out or anything. And
Yeah.
it's, once it's in there, it's not gonna fall out of it.
It doesn't wobble. Yeah.
It's not super stable, like, you know, I can wiggle it around, but it's stable enough for what I do. And it's
So if the
very
bend-
inexpensive.
so Kika, if the bend in the leg is 6 inches from the floor, you'd get a pipe, say 8 inches to raise the table to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not that precise about it. It is a good idea to have the PVC pipe cut to the same length. And if you're on a floor that you care about, you might want to put like a sock or something on one end of the PVC pipe so you don't scratch the floor.
Or you could do tennis balls like a walker.
Right, exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
By the way, Gika, your friend came into the shop the other day.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. I
Did
thought
she
maybe she would have told you. Yeah, she. Go ahead.
No, I was hoping she had. She hasn't come home yet, but I think she's on her way.
Yeah, they were heading back to Texas
Yeah,
when they came in.
I'm glad they made it. She's really.
He invited me to come out there and stay at your house, by the way.
Oh, you can come anytime.
No, it's just really funny. She's like, you should come out and you can stay at Gika's house. I was like, does Gika know that you're inviting people to her house?
We have a guest room that's always ready to go. And
She
years
was
ago,
like, no, she was, her point was that your house is very unique and beautiful.
it is. It's kind of cluttered and messy, but it's pretty special. And the guest room, I used to have a blanket in there so Norman Kennedy is a pretty well-known weaver, spinner, storyteller, and he did a walking where you weave a blanket and you sew the ends together and you wet it and you sit around a table and he sings these walking songs. And it goes, you pass the blanket around, you know, you pick it up and bang it on the table,
Oh.
pass it to the person beside you.
Yeah,
You do
the
it in the
old-fashioned
rhythm.
way of, yeah.
Exactly. He's Scottish. So we did that. And so we call it the Norman Kennedy blanket, and it was on the bed up there. So my weaver friends, whenever they end up staying here, it's the Norman Kennedy blanket, and everybody thinks it's their room. So Lisa thinks it's her room. Renee thinks it's her room.
It's like our guest room on the 3rd floor, which we're actually using right now for our bedroom. But I don't know if Sherry's here, but when Sherry stays, it's her room. And when Kim stays, it's her room. And when Catherine stays, it's her room. It's very charming. The 3rd floor is very charming looking, and people find it very homey there.
Yeah. I should get my 3rd floor organized enough to be that way, because it's like a loft. It's like being way up in a tree house or something.
In this house, it was the maid's quarters, you know, when they built it. And so it's got a lot of privacy.
Yeah. Our house is so open in a way that I guess you could feel private, but sound carries through in certain ways. It's a timber frame house, which you can probably see behind me.
Yeah.
And so some of the sheetrock in between the timbers shrink a little bit over time. And so there are these tiny gaps between the sheetrock and the posts. So depending on what room you're in, sometimes the sound carries through from one room to the next.
Anne, I have a quick question for you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm working on my sleeve on my India print Henley doing decreases, starting
Uh-huh.
decreases. And she, in the editing of your pattern, doesn't tell me what type of decrease to do on what side of the marker. So
Oh.
when I do your patterns, for instance, if I'm doing the arm shaping, it'll say knit 1, knit 2 together and continue in pattern until the last 3 stitches. So if I'm doing top down, should I do the opposite of what you would do? So I would do a slip, slip, knit at the beginning of the row and then.
No, I would, if it was me, I would do them pointing toward the seams. Is there a seam stitch? I can't remember. Is there is there a single seam stitch down the underarm?
I think you wanted it because you add one. There is a single one between the pattern repeats, but she doesn't mark it out as anything significant. So I assumed you wanted it there as like a seam stitch.
Yeah, I mean, when you
So
knit, when you
the
knit,
decrease around it, yeah.
how does the decreases stated?
It's stated in the book, keeping in pattern as much as possible, decrease 1 stitch each side of the marker. That's all it says.
So they're right next to the marker?
Yeah, but there's also, oddly
there-
enough, she has an extra stitch between the pattern repeats that just is always there, or it's in my first.
Oh, okay. So I would make that the seam stitch if it was me.
Okay.
I would decrease on either side of that stitch because
So
otherwise
on the-
your decreases are going to be in a different pattern from each other all the time.
Right,
It might
exactly.
it might drive you crazy. And then I would decrease so that the decreases are pointing toward the seam stitch. So knit 2 together at the beginning of the row and SSK at the end of the row.
Okay, thank you. That is so awesome.
Which is also what you do when you're working bottom up, but I still think it's going to look cleaner. If you do it the other way, you'll have a track down the underarm that'll be more a ridge, you know.
Yeah. It'll be like a channel almost, like a ditch. Okay. So
It's more
knit
like a
together,
design
knit
element.
around.
Catherine, is this the book you're using?
Yes, page 112 under taper
Okay.
sleeve.
Oddly enough, I went through this book and this was the one pattern that jumped out at me years ago before I was introduced to Anne.
So I'm in the taper sleeve section, and if you go down to where she's talking about doing the decreases.
That sounds great. I was just curious where you were seeing your pattern.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what happens, Audrey, is when you get to the sleeve and you start doing the big leaf or tree pattern, the bigger lace pattern, you have, for example, let's say 6 repeats and 1 extra stitch. And so Anne and I are talking about that 1 extra stitch being a seam stitch and having the decreases on either side of the seam stitch rather than just the end of the round marker.
Gotcha. Oh, I can't wait to see it. It's such a nice sweater.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want to
just
see
about
yours.
I'm getting there. I can hold up what I have.
Nice.
Oh, really nice. What yarn is that?
This is Sea Pearl, which I would love to do the sweater in the modern deco. It would be
Well,
amazing.
I was thinking modern deco for that one.
Yeah. It's
Catherine, what color of sea pearl is that? Because, well, I was down
It
in
was
my
a
knitting
custom
dungeon.
color that I asked Chris to do years ago.
Okay.
It's what I asked her to do a color that looked like smashed blueberries.
Oh, very
So
good.
it's got, you can't really tell, but it's got a little bit of like purple to it.
Nice.
It's not her gray blue. It's more like her gray blue, and she added a tiny bit of fuchsia or something to it.
Well, I think I've got her gray blue because I was down, when I went downstairs, I looked for the other yarn and I found this, and this is what my Rhinebeck sweater is going to be. Is
Oh,
this.
beautiful.
That's gonna look nice on you.
I think I'm gonna do Henley with a twist. I think is
Oh,
what.
that
oh,
would be gorgeous.
Isn't Jose, isn't that what you just finished, Henley with a twist? Or not just, but a couple weeks ago?
I don't know if
Yeah,
Jose.
I love knitting that, but I did it in stone soup.
In stone soup, right, and it looked
Yeah.
lovely.
It'll be
So
nice.
I got this,
It'll be nice and stretchy in the sea pearl though.
yeah, well, which, you know, I need a little bit of these, but I bought this at Rhinebeck in 2012. And my knitting group, we're going back to Rhinebeck this year, so this has got to be my Rhinebeck sweater. So,
That top would also look really nice,
Yeah.
or it would be really nice in the Hampshire
oh, yes, it would.
yarn.
I got
Like
some
nice-
of that stash. Yeah.
I've got
I
it in
love
my Dr.
Jose's.
Who knitting bag.
Mm.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, you love that sci-fi stuff.
I do. I love sci-fi. I can remember coming home from school and it was Star Trek was already on afternoon TV at that point in time. It was the late 60s, early 70s. And we would always tune in to Star Trek and watch Star Trek every afternoon.
Is everybody caught up for the next clue yet for Tuesday?
Yeah.
I have the Garter Ridge yet to do with the new color, but other than that, I'm caught up.
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the small lap blanket, so each clue doesn't take me all that long. So I'm all caught up. I'm ready to roll.
I'm doing the throw, so it's a long row.
Oh, you're doing a lot of
But
knitting.
but I've been doing other stuff in between, so I'm
Yeah.
not worried about catching up. I am wondering, if there's a possibility of somebody teaching a knitting version of Evelyn Wood, so I could speed knit. Because I feel like I keep getting behind so many things I want to make.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, I don't either.
Somebody mentioned it the other day and I was like, yeah, I need that for knitting.
Mhm.
Not to mention reading. I'm a slow reader too.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but one thing you could do is listen to audiobooks while you knit, and then you could get both done at the same time, which would be
Yeah.
faster.
Oh yeah, I do that. I do.
You'll have time for both at the same time.
Right. I listen to audiobooks a lot and like when I walk, I listen to them, which feels like it might not be the best thing, but it's a nice way to get through my books. And I knit every chance I get.
Geeka, I used to knit more quickly and found that I lost control of my tension. So I've slowed my knitting down and I make fewer mistakes.
I'm mostly okay with my speed. I just get ahead of myself in terms of all the, excuse me, things I want to make.
Right. Well, looking at Catherine's yarn, I realized that Sable for me, stash acquired beyond life expectancy, will be smaller than hers, but she put hers in her will, so she
Yeah, I think
covered that.
that's pretty clever.
Well,
Yeah.
and God willing, I'll outlive you, Audrey.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you will. I think I've got a few decades on you.
No guarantees, but
I'm pretty sure you will too. You want my stash.
No, I'm good. I'd have to build another wall of cabinets.
I'm just the opposite. I'm trying to use everything up and I've been giving things away because it's such, I don't know, it's such a pressure on me to use up what I've got. And I don't, I don't want to have all that much stuff anymore. So I'm kind of divesting.
I'll get there, but I know Anne's not going to be making yarn forever, so I
Very
don't mind
true.
having
That is
stash.
very true. I have, I think 3 or 4 sweaters worth of Bare Naked, and I'm trying to get to all of them.
Yeah, I have a huge stash, not as nicely displayed though as the one we just saw. And what I really like is when I see something that I feel passionate about, I can immediately grab the yarn and start it. As opposed to now you order it and then it comes in let's say a week, and I'm like, number one, I'm either, what the heck was I going to make with that? Or I don't like it anymore. I'll do something, you know what I mean? So I like having a big stash because you can just spontaneously start stuff.
Very true.
Well, and I live in a yarn
The yarn is
desert.
just so pretty. I want that yarn. So my stash just keeps growing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well, I don't exactly live in a yarn desert.
I
We
do.
have a few good yarn shops around, but everything is indie dyed superwash. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty much over that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So Catherine, when you built this, did you design it with some extra room to acquire more, or do you have to kind of be careful to keep it at the same volume?
I didn't build extra room. And to be honest with you, the only yarn I've been buying has been Bare Nakeds because of the rarity of a lot of the yarns. For instance, I have the one whole cabinet of sock yarn with all the colors, which I like to maintain because I love to make socks as a gift. So people have different color preferences. So I love to go up and just have that at hand.
Yeah.
So, and that's superwash yarn. That's what most people can take care of.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I have bought in the last 2 years has been Bare Naked. I have colored yarn I've bought when I've been on trips, and Shetland I've bought when I've been there because I've been there twice. And I have a lot of that stashed, but since before COVID, the only yarns I've bought has been Bare Naked, with the exception of 1 or 2 for like Christmas gifts, a swap,
Specific
or like if I know somebody's going out of business and I want to stash something on purpose.
Right. Right.
And
And
you
did
knit
you-
a lot, but you knit a lot.
You
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
And when you did all this, did you end up sorting through and getting rid of some stuff, or did you mostly have stuff you wanted to keep?
Oh yeah, I went through 2 big purges. So one was I had a lot of superwash yarn that when I first started knitting and was on Ravelry, I kind of fell for some of the trendy stuff, like when the speckled yarns came out, or I joined a club where it was, like a different yarn a month or something like that.
Right.
And then I did the yarns, and as I learned about yarns and how they behave, I really started to fall in love with the less processed or more natural yarns,
Right.
because they just hold up better and you end up with better results. So
Yeah.
I'd say about 5 or 6 years ago, I did a big purge where I listed some of it for sale on Ravelry, and was able to sell a bunch of it. And I sold it for a discount. And then I took a big tub of it into the senior center and just donated it and took it as a tax return deduction. And then when I moved, I went through it again, really viciously. And it honestly, it parallels Anne's building of Bare Naked Wools. Because the more exposure I got to that quality wool, I knew the less interest I had in especially really intensely superwash yarns. So I, again, made another big donation to the senior center. So now everything I have I would be more than happy to knit. So,
Nice.
but I mean, I have almost a half of that whole yarn section devoted to Anne's yarns. So,
Yeah.
you know, some of the colored ones you saw around her Bare Naked yarns were Knit Spot, you know, collaborations with like
Mhm.
Briar Rose or Feeder Brook or something like that. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, we did do dyed yarns in our clubs quite a bit in the past.
I'm trying to motivate myself to sort through my stash. I mean, I've done a sorting of my yarns, but it's time to do it again. And also I have fabric and fiber, and I have weaving yarns, and, you know, it just kind of goes on and on.
We have a really active senior center here, and I have to say, every time I've taken yarn in there, and I usually go once every couple of years because I'll have people who will gift it to me.
Yeah.
I just had a neighbor whose mother's passed away, and she gave
Right.
me a bunch of acrylic yarn, and I was like, "Ugh, sure,
Yeah.
I'll take it. And they are so grateful because they will knit things and sell them in their shop or donate them to the hospital. They love having all of that stuff so much. And
That's
it's, yeah, I mean, at the senior center, they have a knitting group of ladies. It's like 50 ladies over there. So
That here. Now, Anne, do you have a test knit group, or do you have a list you can get on? Like, how do you handle test knits?
Yeah, if you want to do test knitting or sample knitting, you can contact Danielle, and her email is skein@knitspot.com.
Okay.
Let me make sure that's true. I'm pretty sure it's true. We're always getting, you know, when we get new yarn, we like to get some samples made in it, and or if I'm designing something that we want in a couple different yarns, there might be. Yes, skein@knitspot.com.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're always happy to hear from people who want to do that. And it's paid by the yard. So, and then you get it's paid in a gift certificate for a product. So you can pick whatever you want once you get that.
Got it.
Or anyone else who wants to do that.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, anybody who wants to can write to Danielle. In fact, we've been talking about a list. There is a thread on Ravelry too, that she puts out notices periodically there, but I think she prefers to just deal with people directly. Or the other thing we do is if you've knit something with our yarn that we try to keep our eye on it, but we don't always know that we don't have a sample of. So let's say you knit Henley with a twist in our yarn and it looks from the website like we don't have one shown in our yarn. You can contact us and let us know, and we give you like a much smaller gift certificate just for the privilege of borrowing it. And yeah, and you know, and we pay for shipping and everything for that, and that's super helpful too.
Nice.
And it'll get, you know, we'll photograph it on a model and do some flat lays and send it right back. We usually only keep it a couple weeks in that situation.
Interesting.
I'm super excited to find out what the new yarn is. Next
Me
one.
too.
That'll be great fun.
I got up earlier because I was able to catch my mailman, and he said he did not remember any packages at all. And he looked, I said, well, here's my tracking information. And he looked at the traffic and I didn't notice it until he pointed it out. Number one, the delivery time was way off because he never delivers until afternoon. And it was showed delivered at 9:41. And then also he said, look at the zip code, and the zip code, it looks like it went to a different post office. So I'm
Oh.
thinking it's been routed to the wrong place. So I'll give it a few days and maybe it'll turn up eventually. If not, I'll contact the post office and we'll see what they can do. So,
And that's awesome, but I was talking about the wool along wool, the next one.
oh,
number
I'm
4.
so sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Yes.
I'm really curious.
Yeah, it was fun to knit with and I want to know more about it.
I'm the same way, Anne. I can't wait to talk about it. Oh, that's beautiful. And I'm starting to use my new knowledge, like, now, is that chalk-like or is that luster or is that?
And what have you come up with? Anything?
Never mind, I'm gonna be wrong probably, but it's definitely chalk-like compared to luster.
Yeah, I would say it's a chalk type.
Yeah.
And
So-
that, that's new to me too. I hadn't heard that until, I was researching something earlier this year, and that was the first time I really heard it or read it. So I always I enjoy also finding out all that stuff,
Yeah, you know what's fun about that? Because if you say, okay, so if it's chalk-like, then it's got to be these sheep, not these sheep. And then you can kind of
narrow it down.
I could be wrong, but at least I'm in the right section or something, you know? So I love the color too.
Yeah, I love the color a lot.
Yeah, the color came out really pretty.
Yeah.
On that one.
Always so much fun to line up all the various shades of brown in the various wools and see how different they can be, even though they're all beige.
Well, and that one is like a pearl gray. That came out a pretty cool
nice.
color.
Yeah.
So Anne, are you working on secret things right now?
I am.
Ooh.
I have a few secret things I have to really get moving on.
Someone.
This thing I'm working on should hopefully be off the needles today, which I'm excited about.
is it for the barn box?
It's a secret.
Not giving
Somebody-
anything
I
away.
don't know if you were here, but somebody tried that earlier.
Oh, they did?
Keep plugging.
Power of the secret.
We're just keeping your mind strong, Anne.
Uh-huh. Thank you. I don't know what I would do without.
Probably get lax and spill the beans.
Yeah, probably fall down. I'm a pretty good secret keeper, though.
Clearly.
Well, in this week of a pause, my edging has gotten this far, which is fun.
Look at that.
I can't wait to wash this goat lace and see how it fills in, because there's a lot of wonderful little potential here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It feels really nice.
Oh, I'm really
it.
enjoying this.
And did you find that the lace part got easier as you went along? You were saying it was tricky at first.
Well, lace always reflects my state of mind, unfortunately. So I can tell how I'm doing by the time I've done 3 rows. If I've already got 4 mistakes, which sometimes happens, I know I have to concentrate more. Part of the reason I do it is for my brain.
Yeah.
I wore one of my shawls to a potluck of a group of people I really didn't know. And this one woman just made my day when she walked up and said, "That is a beautiful shawl. Did you make it?" And instantly I thought she was a very lovely human being.
Of course.
And smart with good taste.
I'm curious, is anybody working on a different spot pattern right now than the project? If they're already caught up?
I am not currently knitting on it, but I've got the deep dive going for my daughter. So.
Oh, how is that going?
It's going really well. It fits her perfectly. It is such a
good.
good fit.
Hey.
And I cannot, as soon as I get it finished, which I'm hoping, I've got all these different projects because I do some things with my friends and I'm trying to get things off the needles, but I'm hoping to have it finished by the end of August, the deep dive, and I will definitely get pictures posted on the forum of her modeling it. So
Awesome.
That'll be great. Yeah, get some nice pictures and send them to us.
I will, because she's, I just can't wait.
I started the hypnotic towel last night, and I'm using the Valentine's and the Mother's Day boxes. So it's the pink and purple, and then the purplish, the purple solid, the stone soup.
Isn't
Yeah.
And I like it. I'm almost through the first repeat of the pattern.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, I like the colors so far.
Those
And
look
I like to
really
do,
nice
I like
together.
mosaic knitting. It's just kind of mindless to me. I like to do it.
I'm on the Hamo strip 4 of my blanket. What was that? Blanket statement blanket.
Oh, nice.
So it's getting there. Just
Awesome.
7 more rows and I can bind off this strip and then I have 1 more to go. So this has been a useful session today.
And I'm doing a project that's not touching the yarn, but I had to get my barn box and everything together on an Excel document so that I couldn't have to keep going through it constantly, because I don't have a lot of space, so I have to put it in a place where I can't watch it. And then for every yarn that I have in that, I have the sheet of explanation.
Oh, wow.
Organized.
I mean, I know that's Anne Retentive, so
No, that's
I'm,
cool.
I'm,
Great.
I'm outing myself, but it's gonna really help.
That's an
Love that.
That's
Creating the
nice.
website page is a super cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a little social post on that or something. That's a great idea. I
Yeah.
never thought of it.
Yeah. And it fits all on one sheet as long as you just make it a little bit smaller. It-
Yeah,
All the
yeah.
information fits. so,
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm working on the interlocking.
Oh, wow. That's pretty.
Ooh.
Ah,
That's a lot of progress.
the sleeves are finished. That's the best.
Wow.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
almost, and you're almost to the hem too.
Yeah.
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm loving it. It's the first pattern I've knit of yours, Anne, and I'm really enjoying it.
It's a fun pattern. That
It
is a fun sweater.
I just stood there probably for a half hour at
I have-
Maryland.
I have so many designs for sweaters backed up in my head, and this year has just been abysmal for getting my work done. But I have such a desire to run away from home and to an Airbnb somewhere at an undisclosed location. Spend some time.
We'll
Yeah.
support you. Do it. Do it.
I used to go to my friend Nancy's in New York once or twice a year and spend a week at her place while she was traveling. And that was so great. I would get so much work done in those little retreats. And I haven't, and she died, and I haven't been able to do that in a while. And I mean, I'd rather have Nancy back than
yeah.
that, but I'm just saying, one of the things I lost with Nancy is that was such a gift from her to me that to do that.
I am working on my second time around on this sweater. It's from, I can't remember what it's called. It's from earlier this year and it's something like Sandy Rose or.
Oh, from the that's from a couple years ago. That's the silk and merino blend.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's from that's from Yarn Discovery Tour like a couple years ago or 3 years ago probably.
Well, I don't think I had discovered you 3 years ago, so.
We still had it in, we still had it in our on our website, but I think the pink is all gone now. And we
Yeah,
still
it's
have
been
it
sold
in-
out for quite a while.
It's the
And I
cornbread and honey yarn. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I started making it in Bloomshin and I really did quite a bit of it, but I didn't like it. It's very drapey and it just
Yeah.
seemed
It's
to be,
silky. Yeah.
So now I'm doing subterraneans and I'm doing the sleeves while we're talking, not too
Yeah.
exciting.
That'll
Because-
give it some stability with the cross stitches.
That's
that
what I
will-
was thinking.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm working on Bloomshin.
It's a pretty sweater, yeah.
Oh, look
Nice.
at that.
That's beautiful.
That's Bloomshin. That's my sleeves.
What is your yarn on that?
This is Sea Pearl. It's Briar Rose.
The tencel.
Can you say that name again of the pattern?
Bloomshin.
Oh, Bloomshin. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to get that knit up in our deco because I think that's a stunning pattern and it would be so pretty in the deco.
Yes, it would be.
Pretty in Art Deco, yeah.
I'm working on Ivar. I'm working on the back
Mm.
and
Nice.
have the other parts done. So I'm anxious to get this finished.
Nice. Linda, it's so funny. The other day, someone came in the store and I thought it was you because they had a mask on and the voice sounded. And because your name is Linda Cleveland, I always think you're local, even though you're not. And
It always surprises me. People hear my name and they say, "Oh, are you from Cleveland?"
you're like, duh, no. Well,
We
and on
all
Zoom,
have, yeah, last
and on
names.
Zoom, some people put their geography with their name, like they'll put, Linda Toledo or whatever. So,
Well, I usually say Linda Cleveland, like in Ohio, so yeah, maybe that helps.
anyway, I thought that was really funny. I kept calling her Linda, like I kept telling myself it wasn't you, and I knew it wasn't you, but I still kept treating her like she was you.
Like California Ann, that's not her middle name. We call her that to distinguish from Knitspot Ann.
Well, since we have the same last initial, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah. I used to work with two gals where they were both Shelley, but Shelley, the spelling EY at the end, and the other one was IE. And I'm in a meeting and I'm like, okay, Shelley EY and Shelley IE, and you'd have to do that or else they would kind of wait to see who you're talking to. Well, I gotta go. It's been lovely.
Have a good afternoon.
Yes, I'm gonna go out to the park and enjoy it.
Enjoy the sunshine.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Bye,
Take care.
Jose. See you Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye, Jose.
The poor dogs. I mean, they just will not stop shooting off fireworks around here.
I really get mad at people about that. We've just had an awful 4 days over the weekend with our poor dog. Just
So we live about 5 minutes from Valley Forge. So, and Philly is pretty big on fireworks with Independence Day. So
Yes.
my dog has been terrified with that. Like on the 3rd and the 4th, I think, or like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, there were 3 hours straight of fireworks coming from all directions.
Oh my.
Yeah, terrible. And they go on and on into the night, just when things are settling down, boom, and they're huge, like boom.
Some were probably like city fireworks, some were probably people just lit off their own, and it was just, he was
Yeah.
not happy.
And now there's an Italian American festival up the street this weekend, probably like less than a mile away, and they're gonna have fireworks. I saw when we were walking through the other night, they're having a fireworks display because, of course, every celebration needs fireworks. And poor little Aaron. I have thunder shirts for the other dogs, and I have batch remedies and lavender oil and melatonin, and we do the whole thing. But poor Aaron, I didn't know how she was going to handle them, and so I didn't have a thunder shirt for her yet, and she is very nervous with them. So I put check this out. I put her in this. I wrapped her in a Himalayan salt wrap that I have, which is kind of heavy, and then I put a happy hoodie over her. It's coming up. I put a happy hoodie over her head. Can you see? Oh, there. So that's what she looks like.
Violent, she's relieved with that. I feel like the thunder shirt doesn't really help Toby, but we have it's called a Licky mat. It's silicone and it's got like this waffle kind of grid to it. So you spread. He's sitting right next to me, so I can't use the word right now. But the thing that people like with jelly on sandwiches.
Yeah,
you spread that out on this licky mat, and it takes some effort to lick it out, and so the licking of that is kind of de-stressing for dogs.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of that when he's scared.
Yeah, the thunder shirt doesn't work for everybody. And when it finally came in yesterday, I put it on her, and she was just like, petrified, wood in it. She didn't know quite how to move around in it, or go up and down the stairs, but she'll get it.
Yeah. I have two rescue their brothers, and both of them were violent car thrower uppers. And those thunder shirts worked really well on one and not on the other one. He still throws
It's
up. You show him a car and he's like, bleh, you know, like throws up.
Really?
Yep.
I'm really glad my dogs don't do that.
It's terrible. Yeah. You come home from the vet and I crate them in the back of my Subaru because I don't want them throwing up all over the car. So you get to the vet and there's no throw up and I'm like, woo, you know, and then on the way home, I'm like, I smell dog food. Like you don't hear them throwing up, but all of a sudden it's like dog food. You know what I mean? And the little one is back there in the crate having, been sick.
Oh,
yeah.
Have you guys heard of these instead of fireworks shows, they're doing drone exhibits where the drones are able to go up and do their own?
Yeah, I saw one on YouTube that was a Star Trek spaceship, and
I hope those take over.
Are they quieter?
I mean, they have silent fireworks in Italy. They've outlawed like bangers over there, and
We have that in the rest of the world.
yeah,
I love
better for the
look at
environment.
fireworks, but I haven't gone to a fireworks show or even tried to watch one from the house in a while because I'm too busy comforting the dog because he's terrified of them.
I mean, around here, the noise is definitely part of the attraction, but I think as a compromise, people might be satisfied with silent fireworks. I don't know.
Well, my 95-year-old mother-in-law is absolutely in love with fireworks. She goes out and buys the biggest box possible on her budget. And she came over at 6. Well, it's not dark here till 10. And she stayed the whole time. And she was so excited about the fireworks. Meanwhile, our neighbor was in the military and has PTSD. So I always have to call and give her a heads up when my mother-in-law is coming with that box. But she just, for some reason, she just thinks fireworks are the bee's knees. Geez. And she does get a big box.
I never really understood what the big deal is about, but I know people do.
Like the light. I don't like the noise.
Me neither.
Even that.
She's deaf, so the noise doesn't bother her.
There you go.
I mean, the ones that I really did like were in New York. They do them over the East River, and honestly, like they're incomparable in terms of like the spectacle of the reflecting lights and everything is really pretty. And they're not that noisy because they're so far from everything. Yeah. But getting up on the roof and watching that was pretty fun.
So we walked over to watch the fireworks. I like fireworks, and it never occurred to me until I had friends and a daughter with dogs that it was so distressing to them. So I felt a little guilty and thought of y'all with dogs while we watched them. But again, it's over a lake, and it is kind of fun to see the reflection. And a few years, what we've done is friends have canoes, and we go out on the lake and watch them.
Oh,
That's really fun. It's really nice.
I don't know. So I have a pitty, and he's scared of all kinds of noises that are like nowhere near as loud. So I think it's just how loud and sudden it is when he hears fireworks.
And what kind of dog it is. Some of them have really sensitive hearing.
Yeah.
Or really sensitive to certain pitches and noises.
I think they also think like I have Chihuahua wiener dogs. So to them, they're protecting everybody, they're protecting their house from everything. So mostly my older wiener dog, I mean, a slight boom and he's like, rah, 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 you know, and he's not like afraid as much as, I think he's more like, we're being attacked, you know what I mean? And he's running from, you know, door to door and.
Yeah, they can't see out the window or anything.
No, they're just like, we're being attacked.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Just about
They
the
hear you talking about it.
I know. They're like, bark again.
So Toby he's a big 70-pound pitty, but he's scared of everything and he loves everybody. But when we go out, there's a lot of people that see Pitty and just get scared. And then my sister has a 12-pound poodle mix, but he gets like stranger danger and he's scared of people, but he has no issue with noises and stuff. So he like doesn't care about fireworks, but if he sees people think he's this cute little floofer and want to pet him, but he
That's
needs
how
space.
Riley is. Yeah. Yeah, Riley will she'll sit there quietly while someone extends their hand, and as soon as it's nearby, she'll explode into this snarling hairball, you know.
Oh, Toby will jump up and lick everybody.
Yeah, she doesn't like being touched by strangers. And she squawks like a chicken, so it's doubly disconcerting.
And what was that dog food that you're so fond of that you
Oh,
mentioned a couple weeks ago?
We use the Iron Kitchen. It's dehydrated. I mean, there's lots of nice brands though. And I just buy the base mix and add my own meat to it.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Yeah.
But you can buy it with the meat in it. And in general, it's been very easy for them to get used to. Like I can transition them very quickly from one to the other without having stomach upsets or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Riley's going through a thing with her food where she just doesn't like anything right now, but all the, you know, we've had really good luck with them liking it.
How long have you had Riley?
It'll be 2 years in a month. She's been
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was eating fine before. She just doesn't like food right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she doesn't like anything. She goes through periods of alternately gobbling up every speck of it for a few months, and then she'll go through a period where she acts really picky about it. But you know, and the vet will be like, well, maybe her liver's upset, blah blah blah. But she'll go to the other dogs' bowls and eat out of their bowl, and they all eat the same thing. So it's a behavior thing, and we don't know why she does it.
Okay.
So I just continue to put her food out and praise her when she eats it.
Does it coincide with Aaron being there?
That's what I was gonna say, a new dog.
Yeah.
No, it actually started before she came.
Okay.
She had already kind of geared up for this before. No, if anything, she has another bowl now that she can lick out when she's not eating her bowl.
Because I think sometimes it's a dominance thing. Like, you know, I'm gonna eat out of your bowl and I'm gonna, you know, it's kind of showing them. this is
Oh
my
yeah.
house.
It absolutely is that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in the winter when we didn't have Aaron yet, and Cardigan and Riley they get along pretty well. They always ate all their food except for like a teaspoon, and then they would switch bowls and finish each other's food up. It was really cute. So, but she just, I don't know, she did this last summer too. I don't know if it's a temperature thing or I don't know.
So how many dogs do you have? Because I've seen the white one you had sitting on your lap, and then the little brownish.
Yeah.
A mix.
Yeah. And then we have Cardigan was the first dog. Cardigan is the queen. But she doesn't, she was our first dog. She is also a smaller, like a 30-pound dog. Let me see if I can find a picture. She's a beautiful dog. She was a neighborhood stray that showed up at our house and started sleeping behind our garage. Here she is. She's a mix of about 10 different things, but she looks like a Shar-Pei. There she is.
It's taking a second.
Can you see it?
It's taking us, it says it, okay.
Oh,
there
is it?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, very square.
Yeah, she's a Siberian Husky, Boston Terrier, Cocker Spaniel, German Shepherd, Pomeranian, and several other things. I never can remember all of them. Brittany Spaniel mix.
Very unusual through the eyes, like the structure of the forehead and the eyes.
She's so gorgeous, and her ears are spectacular. They're big and they stand straight up and they're open, and yeah, she's a really sensitive. She was very feral when we got her, and she remains very reserved, but she loves me, and she's just my sweetheart. She's special.
Nice.
Very chill personality.
I could go for one of those. I don't have any chill.
I don't know why I really enjoy this group, whether it's your personalities and certainly Anne's knitting, but I think because you all have dogs or cats, given that I have 9 dogs and I have the 10th visit yesterday, and seeing the different personalities and the way they show love is all so interesting. Moving from my nursing career to caring for 36 years for my daughter who had Downs and autism, dogs are just incredible.
Yeah.
I like
And
your
more
little
cats.
throw over your couch there, your arm of your couch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
little
mellow.
And it doesn't matter the size because I have 2 sisters. One stands up to the 100-pound St. Bernard Doodle, and the other one hides from everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's so individuals, like when we have brothers or sisters.
Yeah, I mean, the danger, like with Riley, the 6-pounder that we have, is that she does do that. She runs right up to the most dangerous dog and lets it be known that she's the queen, and they can just go faff off, and she just gets into trouble. You know.
I like, we've always had German Shepherds, and my husband's had Rottweilers, so bigger dogs. I love little dogs because to me, what they lack in height, they make up for in like guts. Stuff my dogs will do. My little 8-pounder in the cart. We went to visit my son who has a beautiful coonhound, and his dog always dominates my terrier who's around here somewhere. She's a very submissive, she's afraid of everybody. She's afraid of every dog. And so we show up, we get out of the car. My son's dog comes walking over. Stella, who's the terrier, immediately rolls onto her back and does the submissive. Little Chloe, 8 pounds in a cart, goes after that dog because Stella's like her, her sister. She loves her. I mean, biting the legs of this dog, pushing the dog into the house. And here she's 8 pounds. That dog could have like picked her up and flipped her or stepped on her.
And there are big dogs that Riley has total control over.
Oh yeah.
Barb's 100-pound dog won't even go in the same room with her. Is totally afraid of her.
it's so much what I love it because you can also kind of equate it into people. It's so much what you believe you are. Like if you're tough, everybody's going to believe you're tough. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter your size. It's if you show them, you know, I'm not afraid, I'm tough, they'll believe it. I love
have
it.
a cat that rules the house. I call him King Lou. His name is Louie. And he's pretty good size for a cat. And my son has a pit bull that is just the absolute sweetest dog in the world. His name is Lance. And when Lance comes in the house, Lou, he is scared to death of Lou. He will not go in the same room as Lou. He will
Awesome.
not even look sideways at Lou.
That's
It's just
awesome.
like, is the cat there? Is the cat there? And Lou usually goes and does his thing, and then Lance is okay. But yeah, King Lou just controls everybody in
Yep.
the house.
Yep.
So.
I love it.
I'd like you to meet Mighty Mite of the street.
Oh,
That is so
This
cute.
is Wiley. He's my 4th rescue dog, and he owns the street. And he has no eyes. He hears
Like a stuffed animal, he's so cute.
he hears them coming.
He looks like a stuffed animal without the eyes on.
Yeah.
He's cute. Did he have a disease where he had to have his eyes removed, or was he in a fight where somebody else helped him, or?
When we got him, he had only one eye, and it was at a loss because of a fight. He was in a horrible situation down in Georgia. And then we have a wonderful eye vet, just 10 minutes from the house.
Nice.
And so she's done wonders with our other dog too. She tried to save the eye, and we were doing really well for about 1.5 years. But then the pressures just kept building, and it was injections and and she said, really, he can't see out of it anyway. It's really just aesthetics. And I said, then take it out. I mean, because I don't
having a bad migraine.
Yeah, he's probably much more comfortable now without.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it would have been a guessing game as to whether we were managing it or not.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
But he owns everything around here.
I bet he does.
He's got 2-inch legs. He was called Little Peanut, and I never, ever change a rescue dog's name except for this one. He is no Little Peanut. He's Wiley, like Wile E. Coyote.
Right. Nice.
And he answers to it now.
Nice.
That's
They find
interesting.
they find their way around. My
That's
mom.
interesting, 'cause we almost always change the dogs' names so they can put their past life behind them, you know, and that's interesting. You know, but Riley was the only one we didn't change because she was so old.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine are all senior rescues. So, but this one, he actually is the youngest we've ever taken in, and I just couldn't call him Little Peanut.
That is cute. That is cute, Little Peanut. My mom had dementia, and she had a Shih Tzu, and she was allowed to take the dog with her when she went into a facility, but she didn't take care of the dog. The dog was losing weight. She'd forget to feed him, that kind of stuff. And I felt bad for her because we hired a dog walker to get the dog out and moving. And she'd call me up crying saying someone stole my dog. You know, she would forget that somebody took her. So we took the dog and told her the dog had passed because she would never have accepted that we had her dog. And he one by one lost his eyes to, I think it was glaucoma. You know, first one, then the other, and the pressure, and the vet said, you know, that it was like having a horrible migraine all the time with the pressure in their eyes. So my husband and I used to take him camping with us. We'd put him in a baby carrier, and we'd carry him when we hiked. And we had this one lady come up to my husband, which was hilarious because you really couldn't see Willie except for you could see his little feet sticking out the bottom of the carrier in the front. And this lady comes up, she looks at the front of the dog and said, "Oh my God, what a beautiful child." My husband's like, you know, it's a dog, right? Like, and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize." We're like, that's a really hairy child. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, if you're a werewolf, you know.
What a beautiful child. No.
That's so funny.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna get going. It's 2:40, so.
Yeah.
I gotta go
Want
too.
to.
It's nice to be with y'all.
You too.
Yeah.
See
You guys
you
take care. Have a
Wednesday.
great rest of the weekend.
See you Wednesday.
See everybody on Wednesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.